Itagan missing jitab kalenjin getan tetutiet nebo Kass Mashinani kibulugab emet komongose cheterter chebo emetab Kenya. Kainenyon ko Victor Korir getaunen county nebo Narok ole koimuch kondochi county commissioner nebo county nebo Narok notok ko Kipkech Lotiatia kokwoutiet notok nebo amdaet anan letaetab logoiwek chetinyegei ak siretab gei en tetutiet nebo Social Health Authority SHA koret nebo kiker kele kakisimji meng'ik chebo county nebo Narok kotestai kosirgei en tetutyonoto bo tuget nebo kanyoiset. Kobois Lotiatia en kibagenge ak ofisek chebo kanyoiset kobun serikalitab county ak chebo National Government Administrative Officers anan ngao chebo kirwogik asikomuch konet biik akobo komonutiet notok nenyorunen tetutiet nebo SHA kotiengei chairman nebo Council of Elders nebo Narok North Michael Ole Sadera kobois en kibagenge ak Lotiatia kobo komonut kakwoutyonotok ako manyolu kebistoen anan kobistoen notok meng'ik chebo county nebo Narok.
Here to sensitize members of public on the new government health insurance which is in place. We are all aware that NHF which was there was phased out, and now people wananchi are being sensitized on the new health insurance scheme. And as a county, all stakeholders have joined hands, including the county government, officials, Ministry of Health officials, staff there, workers, to register and sensitize the members of the public to benefit from this new health insurance scheme. So far as a county, we have managed to register quite a number of people, but we still need a lot to do. We still need to join efforts together with stakeholders and especially the Ministry of Health here. Today we're with the governor here, and also this is the projects that actually the government is geared. It is determined to make sure that all wananchi benefit. We have about total of 8 sub-counties in the county, and each sub-county have been asked to form a committee that will spearhead this registration exercise. And as at now, we still need it to allow because the target is still has not been met. And but as we progress this way, we will get a number of people in there to register. Otherwise, the registration exercise is.
Hii ni jambo ambalo inasaidia kila mwananchi. Hii ni mambo ambayo tulikuwa nayo tangu zamani, lakini imebadilishwa system. Registration natakikana ifanyike haraka kulingana na vile serikali wamependekeza kusaidia wananchi tukufu, kwa sababu sio kila mtu anaweza kujilipia bili ya hospitali. Magonjwa siku hizi imekuwa mingi sana. Tunapoangalia, tulitoka kwa corona tukaingia ingine inaitwa Kass ambaye ametatiza wananchi wetu tukufu, na serikali wametafuta mbinu ya kusaidia wale watu ambao hawataweza kujilipia hospitali. So kwa hiyo tunaomba wananchi tukufu, yale mnaambiwa na county commissioner ambaye ndiye macho wa serikali ama ndio head katika wilaya yake, yale ambayo mnaambiwa ambaye ni vitu ya maana, sio politics ama sio kitu kingine. Hii ni mambo ya kusaidia raia ama ni mambo ya kusaidia nyinyi kwa sababu ya huduma, ya kurahisisha huduma. So inapofanyika kitu mzuri, muunge mkono. So mimi kwa upande wangu nikiwa mwenyekiti wa Council of Elders Narok North, naomba hiyo jambo liungwe mkono kusaidia watu hapa Narok. Tangu aingie, sio mtu ya kujivuna.
Na mimi ni mtu ya bodaboda hapa Narok. Mimi ni wa hospital stage, na kwa uhakika SHA itatusaidia sababu bora ni kuamini na kulipa, sababu serikali ni gumu sana itupeleke mahali yenye si mzuri. Kwa hivyo ile kitu tunaamini ni kwamba SHA itatusaidia.
Agetakinige kewege taonet nebo Nairobi kot nebo tuiyosiek nebo KICC ole miten tuyet notok nenat ko Foreign Policy Consultative Forum Notok ko agenge en tuiyosiek chekiboisien kechul ortinwek anan arorutik chetelelchin ole boisioito emetab Kenya ak emotinwek chebo sang. Ole en nguni komiten en tuiyonotok President William Ruto koboto rubeiwondenyin Kithure Kindiki ak kandoik alak chebo serikali. Ole en nguni kotestai kong'ololi Professor Kithure Kindiki kotomo kotach inendet President William Ruto. Amache ketokyinikei KCC kekas kit nemwoe rubeiwotab President.
Therefore, I am very, very, very proud as a citizen of this country that we are reflecting on these things at a time like this, and at a time when we are witnessing many changes across the world, the stress around existing multilateral systems, the emergence of plural systems, as has been said here, and how do we harness all these divergent developments for the benefit of our country. And therefore, we will want to listen to Your Excellency and hear what vision you have for us, and how do we take cue, those of us who are serving in your administration, how do we take cue from that vision to help us navigate the interests of Kenya and make sure that we hand over this country to future generations, a stable country, united country, prosperous country that can sustain the shocks that are prevailing today and those that will come in the future. With those many remarks, Your Excellency, I want to request all my colleagues to be upstanding and welcome His Excellency the President to give us his vision with a round of applause.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, let's take our seats. Asanteni sana. Your Excellencies, honorable members, fellow Kenyans, let me first take this opportunity to congratulate the team led by our Prime Cabinet Secretary and the two departments of Foreign Affairs and of Diaspora Affairs for what I have seen is a job very well done. Congratulations from us. And today we mark a significant milestone in the crucial process of reviewing and consolidating our foreign policy into a comprehensive document. This policy reflects our strategic responses to global imperatives at both bilateral and multilateral levels, defines the values and principles driving our responses, and articulates our objectives as a nation. This transformation is timely, coming at the expiry of the shelf life of our 2014 foreign policy document that had been developed again in a concerted effort the way this one has been. Our foreign policy must align with the dynamic realities of both domestic and the international environment. Kenya's pursuit of national economic transformation necessitates a forward-looking, robust, patriotic, and people-centered foreign policy that will attract investments and secure our country's rightful place on the global stage. At its core, Kenya's foreign policy is more than the management of relations with other nations. It's about shaping a destiny for present and future generations that aligns with our national interests. This policy, therefore, ensures that diplomatic engagements deliver tangible benefits to every Kenyan, unlocking the power of cooperation, the promise of partnerships, and the potential of a shared vision for a prosperous and interconnected future for our nation. The time has come to dismantle the barriers that have traditionally confined foreign affairs to the executive. Instead, we must adopt a comprehensive, inclusive, whole-of-government and all of society approach involving parliament, the judiciary, civil society, faith-based organizations, our young people, women, and also all other active stakeholders. At the same time, our foreign policy must provide a sound framework for effective strategies that serve our national objectives, priorities, and interests through diplomatic engagement. Let me say this, that each and every one of us, whether we are members of the judiciary, members of parliament, members of civil society, whether we are sportsmen, whether we are business people, we represent Kenya in engagements with others. And therefore, we have a diplomatic responsibility to represent our country well. Its ultimate aim, naturally, is to improve citizen welfare, drive national progress, and contribute to shared regional and global prosperity. Globalization has driven intensive integration and interdependence, blurring the line between domestic and foreign policy. This makes it imperative to redefine and reestablish a distinct, comprehensive foreign policy framework. And this is the exercise this ministry is engaged in. The new foreign policy document outlines clear objectives, identifies emerging trends, and proposes effective responses to global dynamics. It incorporates mechanisms for implementation, monitoring, and evaluation, ensuring that our diplomatic sector serves as a catalyst for Kenya's prosperity. Notably, it highlights opportunities in emerging fields, such as the digital diplomacy and climate diplomacy. As you all know, we progressively have raised Kenya's diplomatic profile. It is the reason why, for the first time in Nairobi, we held the first ever African Climate Summit in Nairobi. And I did it specifically because Nairobi is the environmental capital of the world, and we must lead in matters environmental diplomacy. It is the reason why our voice as a country is counted on by our African friends, by the global community, and we carry the weight of the fact that Kenya hosts the United Nations Environmental Program, and it is the reason why we have leveraged on it to raise the profile of our country and to make sure that Kenya plays in the right league. And I am looking forward to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs continuously managing that space in a manner that profiles Kenya positively. Without a doubt, economic diplomacy remains central to our foreign policy. Kenya's position as a regional financial hub, backed by a strong banking sector and hosting the largest World Bank station outside Washington, underscores its importance. Recent engagements, including the African Development Bank and IDA summits, have emphasized the critical role of the private sector, youth, and civil society in economic diplomacy. When I was requested by the World Bank to host the IDA negotiations in Nairobi, when I was requested by the president of the Africa Development Bank to also host their summit in Nairobi, it demonstrated Kenya's new profile as a destination and as a voice for economic diplomacy. We must build on it, we must leverage on it, and whatever it is that we are doing, whether it is with the World Bank or the Africa Development Bank, must eventually accrue benefits to the people of Kenya. Our foreign policy must, therefore, advance the strategy of creating more and better trade and economic opportunities for industries and enterprises, with a special focus on the empowerment of small and medium enterprises and the inclusion of marginalized groups such as young people, women, and persons living with disability. In so doing, our foreign policy dovetails with a bottom-up economic transformation agenda. To benefit from this complementarity and alignment, it is time for us to be imaginative in order to enhance the capacity and the efficacy of our missions abroad and use them to promote trade and promote investment and position Kenya as appropriately as they can. Our nation's reputation as a dependable peace and security actor is a source of pride. Kenya has established strong credentials in the area of regional, Pan-African, and global peace and security engagements and operations. Our long-standing tradition of effective peacemaking, peace building, and peacekeeping has defined us as a force of common good in our region, in our continent, and globally. And sustaining this positive legacy is an important strategic priority for us. I expect the ministry to continuously focus in this space. It is the reason why we are engaged in all the interventions. Now in South Sudan, we're also engaged in the main Sudan. We are engaged in Somalia. We've just come out of DRC. And the global community approached Kenya to take our place in Haiti. It was not because of any other reason. It was because Kenya has positioned itself as a country that understands peacemaking, peacekeeping, and peace diplomacy has been, over time, a place where Kenya excelled. And it is our intention, and I'm sure you will put into the finer detail of this document on how Kenya can leverage on that space to make sure that we not only play our role, but we also profile our country positively. This is why, at the moment, Kenya is leading the UN-approved multinational security support mission in Haiti and mediating peace efforts in different parts of our region, including South Sudan, as I have said, Sudan, and across the region. We are determined to remain a peaceful nation, at peace with ourselves first, at peace with our neighbors, and also working with friends across the world. Under the Shirika Plan, which is another huge invention of Kenya, our innovative refugee program, we aim to transform camps into integrated settlements, setting a global standard for sustainable and affirmative humanitarian response. I had, for example, an engagement with the UN representative of Matters refugees, and they are working with other countries that have refugees, learning from Kenya how to integrate refugees and how people who have lived in a country for 30 years cannot continue to stay in camps, how we can integrate them into society and how we can use them as a force of good. And we are making huge strides in that space. I hope this policy document will capture the innovative measures we have taken with our refugees, use them to profile our country, use them for matters diplomacy so that we can contribute to the welfare of not just refugees in our country, but refugees living everywhere in the world. Ladies and gentlemen, we are not new to climate diplomacy. Our country has a long and proud tradition of environmental diplomacy that dates back to our earliest years as a republic. By 1972 Copenhagen Summit, our voice and stand with respect to ecological stewardship, biodiversity conservation, and environmental sustainability was distinct and well-defined. We have sustained efforts to consolidate our role as a champion for conservation in the face of relentless global warming, which has ushered in unprecedented climate change. It has become imperative that we take a strong stand to promote urgent and effective climate action locally and globally. As chair of the Committee of African Heads of State on Climate Change, I had the honor, as I informed you earlier, of co-hosting the inaugural Africa Climate Summit in Nairobi, which produced the landmark Nairobi Declaration, a collective position of Africa's pathway to climate action, sustainable investment, and green industrialization. Kenya's role in shaping global climate conversation is a testament to our commitment and our dedication to matters climate. Kenya's engagement in global health diplomacy is also guided by lessons learned from COVID-19 pandemic and our commitment to enhancing inclusion and equity by promoting public and private investment to expand access to quality healthcare, address disparities, and strengthen domestic health systems while partnering to address pandemics and emerging public health challenges, not just in Kenya, not just in our region, but globally. As a national policy priority, Kenya is committed to sustaining its strong contribution to deepening regional integration through various initiatives, including the accelerated implementation of the East African Treaty and protocols, as well as promoting the free movement of people, goods, and services across borders. This commitment extends to our obligation under the Common Markets for Eastern and Southern Africa, COMESA, the tripartite free trade agreement that again came into force this year in May after meeting the threshold, and our efforts to actualize the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. To this end, we have adopted a visa-free policy and the Pan-African Payment and Settlement System to facilitate free movement and promote intra-Africa trade. Let me say this with clarity, that we have championed, we've taken the front line in making sure that Africa trades together, works together, and we ease movement within this continent. It is our voice and the recognition of Kenya's contribution in matters diplomacy around African integration that led the Africa Union in the 37th summit in Addis to ask Kenya to lead the way in reforming the Africa Union to make it a fit-for-purpose organization that can speak to the interests of Africa, the aspirations of the African people. And I want to promise you that I am putting together the report after meeting several stakeholders, and in February, I will be filing the first report to see how we can make the Africa Union a fit-for-purpose organization to drive our integration, to drive our investment and trade, and to make sure that we position our continent as we position Kenya in the right trajectory as we look into the future. On continental leadership and governance, Kenya upholds the Africa Union's Constitutive Act, champions the Pan-African principle of developing and applying African solutions to African challenges, and vigorously promotes Africa's interests and positions in multilateral fora and on the global stage. As I have told you, as the current leader of the AU institutional reforms, we are committed to establishing a well-financed, assertive African Union capable of addressing the continent's challenges and advancing its strategic interests. Despite numerous challenges that have put multilateralism in a crisis, Kenya's commitment to multilateralism endures, and more than ever, we are now invested in strengthening it at both the regional and global level. In all these endeavors, our positions are firmly aligned with the founding principles and constitutive instruments of the African Union and the United Nations, while being guided by our national interest. As a member state and host country to major international institutions, including the UN, Kenya has a strong interest in championing for their further empowerment and reform. And that is why I have been in the forefront, and we have been as a country in the forefront in championing the reform of international architecture, whether it is the UN Security Council.
Aeng kasarta testai ngololi President William Ruto agobo foreign policy nebo emetab Kenya ketokchinige county nebo Kericho, town hall nebo Kericho, ole testai ibetab keretab biikab emet kotinygei ak Finance Act Bill nebo 2024 netokchinigei chikilisietab aisurut en emoni netindo anan indochin MPs chebunu committee nebo finance en bunge nebo National Assembly asikomuch kokochi biikab emet boroindo nebo kokon kerenywan. Testai tuyet notok en towntab Kericho ole miten standby sinunyo nebo logoiwek notok ko Robert Sielo. Sielo newendi koibwech report notok en oret nebo agenge en agenge kong'eten hall notok miten taonit nebo Kericho. Robert Sielo amache akonin boroindo inaisi biik chekere ketesiet nebo Kass TV tetutiet notok bo Kass Mashinani.
The people, the members are not going to work for the people. Then we are killing the country and God is going to punish us. Hallelujah! Amen! Haya. Nakuja kwa mambo ya biashara. Hii mambo ambayo inakuja biashara, mnakuta tunatoa ushuru na tujui kuna baadhi ambao zamani 63. Kuna kitu ambacho inafanyika na tujui. Kuko na watu ambao wanafanya biashara katika many counties. Alafu wanaambiwa hii ushuru utatoa. Hii ushuru utatoa. For example, umefungua kiosk ambao wewe umejitengenezea. Hiyo kiosk umetengeneza mwenyewe, inafaa wewe ulipe license peke yake because constitution inasema ya kwamba any temporary structure can be demolished in 10 minutes. So the government of the country or somewhere can take the only rent, not rent, licenses because you can demolish it in 10 minutes. Uliona demolition jana? Demolition niko kwa sababu temporary structure ambayo itabomolewa. So people require peace. They need to have what we call proper implementation, proper working environment whereby people can get what they want in the future. Wewe unakuja kubomolea mtu, utamwambia namna hii na unamwambia amelipa license, amelipa rent. County ikitengeneza rent, ilipisha rent ya pesa kidogo ambayo inasaidia mtu. Lakini si alitengeneza nyumba, halafu mtu anakuja kutengeneza, anakuja kuchukua rent na anachukua license. Where are we taking people? That's when you are killing people. Another proposal ambayo nasema mfungue mahospitali ya kufanya what you call mambo ya akili za watu zinaharibika. Nowadays watu wanaongea peke yao kwa street. Haki ya Mungu, watu wanaongea peke yao kwa street. Ukienda moja hapa kwetu watu wanakufa kila wiki wananyonga. Every one person, 5 people are dying. Na mwangalia hiyo kitu si wrong. It is very very desperate to see people dying because of not their wish. I'm saying this because tunatembea tunakuta watu wanaumia. Please, I beg you for your kindness. Can we do the positive development kama ya Biblia ambayo inasongesha watu katika nchi nyingine ambayo itasaidia? Asanteni sana.
Mashinani.
Kakugeretwa niko hapa sasa Moi, niko town lakini nasumbua Kenya mzima na East Africa. Nimetoka Southern Sudan juzi. Asanteni sana.
Haya, tuko na one of our members who has arrived. Nataka atuambie jina lake alafu.
Basi asante sana Vice Chair. Jina naitwa Paul Kibichi Biego, mjumbe kutoka kaunti ya Nandi. Constituency inaitwa Chesumei na mimi ni member ya hii committee. Asante.
Karibu sana mheshimiwa jirani. Naona mkono pana ya mama. Alafu okay, nitakuja kwako. Utasimama hapo katikati, simama.
Baadhi yenu kwa wanaishi, na nitasupport mambo na majenzi wenye wanafanya kazi online, kukatwa tax. Maybe huyo mtu anapata pesa ya maybe rent, food na pengine anategemewa nyumbani. So unapata ukimtax, nitasupport mwenzangu pale. Hao wenye anasema wanajiongelesha si kutaka, ni depression juu ya maisha kwenda juu. So hiyo ya kutax wenye wako kazi ya online, hiyo napinga hiyo.
Kuna mzee hapa mbele. Alafu nakuja hapo.
Kwa majina naitwa Kass, niko natoka hapa aina moja kuchelewa. Mimi naunga mkono hii amendment bill kwa sababu nchini serikali ni kama umefuga ng'ombe na ng'ombe unangoja maziwa, na hii ng'ombe usipolisha huwezi pata maziwa. Mimi naona ni mzuri hii amendment ipite, hata vile mtu anasema ati ile mtu chenzi vile anafanya nini, unajua usipocheka nyumba hakuna pale utaishi. Hasa ni mzuri kila kitu iende vizuri, hakuna mzema ati usikate hii, usipokata kitu utapata kule, na tunangoja twende tuone mbele. Asante sana, Mungu awabariki nyinyi.
Wacha niseme hivi, nimesikia hiyo maneno ya digital tax. Najua vile tunajaribu Kenya hii, tunajaribu tuone ya kwamba kama inawezekana kila mtu mwenye anapata pesa aweze kuchangia Kenya, sio? Ndio tuweze kupunguze tax. Kila mtu alipe lakini kidogo kuliko wachache walipe mingi. So mnajua tuko na watu ambao wanafanya kazi ya chini huko. Tuko na wale watchmen wanafanya kazi wanapata 15,000 na anakatwa, sio? Kwa sababu ni rahisi kupata. Lakini kuna hii watu wanafanya hii kazi ya online, unapata mtu kwa dini moja anaweza kuongea 50,000. Ama? Na unasema huyu awachiliwe, huyu anapata 15,000 akati is fair. Tunasema kuna kitu inaitwa tax base. Kwa sababu kama inawezekana kila mtu mwenye anapata pesa afanye nini? Akatwe, ndio hiyo rate ya kila mtu ikuje wapi? Ikuje chini. Kama ni 30%, tukipata watu wengi tunaweza rudisha mpaka 20%. Si ndio? Yo. So mimi nawaelewa lakini tumesikia. Haya, next nimeona kuna hapo nyuma. Tutasimama hapo katikati alafu tutakuja baadaye. Kama inawezekana, let us be very brief to the point. Ndio kila mtu tupate nafasi.
Asante kwa kupata hii nafasi. Kwa majina naitwa Peter Taulu kutoka Belgut County. Nimeona hii bill kama hii ndio itafanya sisi kutoka kwa hii shimo ya deni ya ng'ambo, kama William anaona atamaliza deni na hii bill. Bill iende. Lakini waheshimiwa, tunaona mfanyi kazi vile na jurisdiction yenu, sababu kuna remote huko unaambiwa ufanye hivi. Naomba muende na jurisdiction yenu ya bunge na maamuzi yenu na yetu, sababu tuliwatuma muende msimame na sisi, sio kusimama na rais na executive. Asanteni sana.
Haya, umesema tukue independent. Tuko na haya, nakuja kwa salati lakini kuna mzee hapo kuja kwa kuja. Labda nakuja kwa kazi la salati. Au nakuja kwa
Okay, ninasikia watu wanajitambulisha kwa majina. Kuna majina ambayo watu wajuangi. Inaitwa Patrick B. Alan Chemuru akiingia shamba ni mbaya. So, mimi nataka tu kwa hii mambo. Vile ndugu yangu amesema hapa. I support but msifinye sisi sana. Hata sisi tunapanga hasa. Mtusaidie saa zingine. So, hii mambo ya hii katiba mina support 80%. I wish you honorable member from Ainamo. My name is B from Belgood, lakini tunapiga hapa kura, tunapigana benja. Sababu tunakuja tuimbe na yeye, meacha vitu benja.
Hiyo anaitwa Chemol ya hapa town. Asante sana. Siku anajua unaitwa B. Najua tu unaitwa Chemol. Nilikuwa nimesema okay, Salat. Alafu nitakuja na huko nyuma. So Salat hii. Wala hapo nyuma mahali walikuwa wanasimama hapo. Jitambulishe.
Okay, kwa majina ninaitwa Elijah Ruto. Lakini Salat ni ile ya mtaani. Mimi mambo ni tofauti, pengine nitaenda kwa hiyo nje ya finance bills kidogo. Pengine ninauka mkono 100%. Sababu kuna siku moja nilikuwa na deni yangu kwa nyumba, kikombe ilikuwa ni 2. Wakati nilisaa kikombe ikakuwa ni 3. Nikasaa ikafika 6, kila mtu na kikombe yake. Kwa hiyo nashukuru serikali kwa hiyo finance bill 100%. Si kwa siasa, ni ya ukweli wa mambo. Nikija mambo mengine ambayo nilipata majuzi. Kwa mpango ya serikali ambayo inapanga mkakati ya nchi yetu. Nikapata mataarifa hivi majuzi. Nikapata magovernors wakipea notice serikali kuu ikifika tarehe 30 atakuamilisha kaunti zote kazi zetu. Nikafikiria na nikasema ni mzuri vile wamesema, lakini naye tungependa magovernors watuonyeshe ile pesa ambayo wanapewa kila wakati amefanya kazi gani. Tuambie ukweli wa magovernors, manake magovernors amekuwa makorrupt suku. Mkituma pesa kutoka Nairobi inakuja anapea masemeji, mandugu zangu, wala support. Nikasema national government watengeneze kamati, hakikisha kwamba hizi pesa ambazo mnaituma kutoka Nairobi mfuatilie mpaka mashinani, ili tujue kwamba hizi pesa wanachezea naye inafanya kazi gani. Mimi kwa Kericho County mimi sijatofautisha municipality ama kutofautisha county government, sielewi. Sababu mimi napata kama ni municipality naona ile mambo ilifanyika kitambo ni ya municipality. Kwa mfano, kujeni hapa hospitali hapa district. Nimezoea kuita sijui inaitwa? Mimi najua kama district mimi. Ukienda pale hivi mjengo ambayo ilijengwa kitambo na mababu zetu ijawahi kubalishwa hata inji moja. Ukifika ndani hata dawa yenyewe hawana.
Chitab kalenjin choto ko meng'ik chebo county nebo Kericho testai kokoito icheket kerenywan kotinygei ak bilit nebo Finance Act 2024 kondochin MPs chebo county nebo Kericho en County Hall. Ole miten yoto sirinyo nebo logoiwek Robert Sielen en testai kosibi notok asikomuch koibwech en koindo en saisiek chemiten tai. Kobaten nguni kebendi kimunye en kasarta nenwach en tetutiet nebo Kass Mashinani kiweksei nematyan.